And joining me for the duration of the programme today is Rushanara Ali, the Labour MP for Bethnal Green and Bow, and Bob Blackman, the Conservative MP for Harrow East. Welcome to both of you. And we start the programme again by putting the spotlight back on you and asking you for the one big issue, the thing you're working on at the moment that is really kind of occupying your time. Rushanara.
Well, my big issue at the moment is to try and persuade the government to provide the much needed additional funding to make sure that buildings that have the kind of cladding that was found in the Grenfell Tower, there are hundreds of these buildings that need urgent work, and the government has committed funding for the social housing blocks, but nothing for private blocks, and people are being lumbered with thousands of pounds of fees for 24-hour security because it's been 2 years since the fire and there's no end in sight, and we need the government to take action to provide the urgent funding and also get the work done rather than leaving it to leaseholders to go after their freeholders to do it. And if that doesn't work, they need to legislate.
And I have to say, Bob, this has been going on and on. This is a topic we've returned to many times on this programme. 176 private blocks. I think 10 of them have had the work done on them to remove this cladding. It's not good enough, is it? It
isn't, and I think the reality is that the poor leaseholders are the ones that seem to be getting lumbered with the bill, when that's grossly unfair. I have been pressing the government to actually come up with the commitment to provide the funding or to force the freeholders to actually do the work.
What reception are you getting? Because we've heard a lot of warm words from ministers, even from the Prime Minister herself, because she's been asked about this in PMQs on a number of occasions now, but not much actual action.
There is a big issue around the regulations that existed, the building regulations that existed at the time when this cladding was put on. I think a lot of freeholders are holding out for the fact that the building regulations at that time permitted this form of cladding to be put on buildings. So not unreasonably.
It's kind of hiding behind the legal niceties, isn't it?
Except if they accorded with the building regulations and this was signed off by local authorities, then it's not unreasonable for them to say, well, you've changed the regulations, you've got to fund the changes. And I think that's reasonable.
But I think it's outrageous. The Prime Minister committed after the Grenfell fire, when people needlessly lost their lives, that she would do everything to protect our people. Those were her words. 2 years has passed, and what we have is a government just ignoring the plight of thousands of our constituents across the country. And actually the other thing is passing the buck on local authorities is not sensible or helpful. What we need, and some of these property owners, freeholders, are offshore, and so the government needs to stand with residents and provide the legal support as well as the funding to get the work done, rather than just passing the buck. Indeed. It's been too long.
I'm sure this is, well, it is going to be something that we come back to again. Bob, I think you want to talk about rough sleeping.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we're a year on from my Homelessness Reduction Act that I piloted through as a private member's bill that was the biggest reform we've had for dealing with homeless people in this country for more than 40 years. And essentially, the aim is to prevent anyone from being forced to sleep rough. The scandal that used to exist, whereby particularly single homeless people would go to the local authority and be told, well, very sorry, nothing to do with us, goodbye, go and sleep on a park bench. And if you're lucky, you'll be picked up by a homeless charity.
I mean, you know, a fantastically ambitious bill, you got it through.
Absolutely.
But are you frustrated by it, perhaps it isn't working in the way you wanted it to?
Well, there are frustrations. We're a year into the bill being active, and most importantly, only less than 6 months into the duty to refer. And one of the key points here is that any public service that comes across anyone that's homeless or threatened with being homeless can refer that individual to the local authority, and they must help. Now, the good thing is that in the first 6 months, more than 10,000 people across the country have been prevented from becoming homeless.
OK, all right. Well, so much to talk about there, but we're going to park that there for now.